From rags to laughter, Charlie's early antics. Yo, let me tell you about this guy, Charlie Chaplin, born in London, right? The city was bustling, but for Charlie, it was a tough place to grow up. Tough start, man. Poverty, workhouses, tough stuff. His family struggled to make ends meet, and young Charlie had to fend for himself. But Chaplin, he found his escape, making people laugh. It was his way of coping with the harsh realities of life. Even as a kid, he was a natural. He had this incredible ability to see humor in the bleakest situations. Come on, you know those kids, always clowning around. That was Chaplin. He'd entertain his friends and family with his antics. He'd mimic anyone, anything, teachers, shopkeepers, you name it. His impressions were spot on and always got a laugh. The kid was a walking, talking comedy routine. Every moment was a chance to perform. And guess what? People ate it up. They loved him. His charm and wit were irresistible. See, even back then, Chaplin had that magic touch. He could make anyone laugh, no matter their mood. He could turn frowns upside down. It was like he had a superpower for spreading joy. He was like a laughter doctor, prescribing giggles to everyone he met. His humor was infectious. Chaplin took his act on the road, literally joined a traveling troupe. It was his big break. Think about it. Vaudeville, comedy sketches, all that jazz. It was the perfect training ground for a budding comedian. Talk about pressure. But Chaplin, he thrived on it, man. The stage was his playground. He honed his craft, learned timing, perfected those facial expressions. Every gesture was calculated for maximum effect. The guy was a comedic sponge, soaking up everything he could. He studied other performers, always looking to improve, and the crowds, they went wild. His performances were a hit wherever he went. Chaplin's star was rising, baby. He was becoming a household name. From those humble beginnings, a legend was about to explode onto the scene. His journey was just beginning. Little did they know, Chaplin was about to turn the world of comedy upside down. His innovative style would change everything. Get ready to laugh, folks, because things are about to get hilarious. Chaplin's genius was about to shine brighter than ever. Lights, camera, Chaplin, the silent film sensation. Now Hollywood was calling. Silent films were all the rage, and Chaplin, he was about to own it. He signs with Keystone Studios in 1914. Game Changer, his first film, making a living. But hold up, he wasn't the Tramp yet, not quite. He played this annoying dude with a monocle and a mustache. Funny, but not classic Chaplin. Then came Kid Auto Races at Venice. Boom, the Tramp is born. Baggy pants, that hat, the cane, the whole shebang. Chaplin's genius, he created a character everyone could relate to. The Tramp was a nobody, but he dreamed big. He was clumsy, but always had a good heart. And boy, could he move. Those wobbly walks, the exaggerated falls, pure comedic gold. Chaplin's films were like mini masterpieces of physical comedy. He didn't need words. His face said it all. Those expressive eyebrows, that iconic mustache, every twitch told a story. And the audiences? They were hooked. Chaplin became a global superstar. He wasn't just making movies, he was creating a whole new kind of comedy. The Tramp's triumph. A star is born, and he's hilarious. Now, Chaplin's a big deal. He's directing, writing, starring in his own films. Talk about a triple threat. He's cranking out classics, The Gold Rush, City Lights, Modern Times, each one funnier than the last. The Gold Rush, forget about it. Chaplin eating his boot like it's a gourmet meal, comedy genius. Then there's the iconic scene where he does that bread roll dance. 2 forks, 2 rolls, pure magic. Chaplin knew how to turn everyday objects into props of hilarity. He was like a comedic magician, pulling laughs out of thin air. City Lights was a masterpiece, a love story, a social commentary, and hilarious to boot. Chaplin could make you laugh and cry, sometimes in the same scene. The Tramp falling in love with a blind flower girl? Heartbreaking and hilarious at the same time. That's Chaplin's genius right there. He could blend humor with pathos, creating characters that were both funny and deeply human. The Tramp wasn't just a funny guy in baggy pants. He was a symbol of resilience, hope, and the power of laughter. Section 4, wobbling and bobbing, Chaplin's slapstick shenanigans. Let's talk about Chaplin's physical comedy. His ability to use his body as a tool for humor was unparalleled. The man was a master of slapstick. He could turn the simplest of actions into a comedic masterpiece. He could trip over his own feet, walk into walls, and make it look absolutely hilarious. His facial expressions were just as important as his physical antics. A simple look could send the audience into fits of laughter. His movements were like a perfectly choreographed dance of clumsiness. Every step, every stumble was meticulously planned. He'd bounce back from every fall, every pratfall, with a mischievous grin that made it all seem so effortless. Chaplin understood the rhythm of comedy. Timing was everything, and he had it down to a science. He knew how to build tension, making the audience anticipate the inevitable fall. And when the moment came, he would deliver a perfectly timed pratfall that left everyone in stitches. The laughter was not just a reaction, it was a testament to his genius. Take the scene in modern times where he gets caught in the machinery. He's being spun around, flipped upside down, and all the while his face is a picture of bewildered amusement. His expressions were priceless, capturing the absurdity of the situation perfectly. Chaplin's slapstick wasn't just about the falls and the bumps, it was about his reactions. His ability to convey surprise, confusion, and joy all at once was unmatched. It was his reactions that made the comedy so relatable and timeless. He had this way of making you believe he was genuinely surprised by every mishap. His eyes would widen in mock terror. His body would contort in impossible positions, and you couldn't help but laugh. His eyes would widen in mock terror. His body would contort in impossible positions, and you couldn't help but laugh. His body would contort in impossible positions, and you couldn't help but laugh. He made it look effortless, but believe me, it was hard work. Chaplin was a perfectionist. He'd spend hours rehearsing every stumble, every pratfall, until it was just right. He made it look effortless, but believe me, it was hard work. Chaplin was a perfectionist. He'd spend hours rehearsing every stumble, every pratfall, until it was just right. He'd spend hours rehearsing every stumble, every pratfall, until it was just right. He was like a comedic scientist, experimenting with the laws of physics and laughter. And the result, pure comedic gold. He was like a comedic scientist, experimenting with the laws of physics and laughter, and the result, pure comedic gold, experimenting with the laws of physics and laughter, and the result, pure comedic gold. Section 5. A brush with genius, Chaplin's creative process. It's funnier than you think. Now, Chaplin wasn't just a funny man, he was a creative genius. His talents extended far beyond just acting. He was a master of multiple crafts. He wrote, directed, composed music, even edited his films. Each role he took on was executed with a level of dedication and skill that was truly remarkable. Talk about a one-man show. He was the epitome of versatility, seamlessly transitioning between different roles on set. And his process, just as funny as his movies. His approach to filmmaking was filled with humor and spontaneity. He'd get an idea and boom, off to the races. His mind was a whirlwind of creativity, constantly churning out new concepts and gags. He'd act out scenes, try different gags, all while wearing those iconic shoes. His physical comedy was unmatched, and he used his entire body to bring his ideas to life. He'd use his crew as guinea pigs, testing out jokes on them. Their reactions were his litmus test for what would work on screen. If they laughed, it was in the movie. This collaborative approach ensured that his films were filled with genuine, heartfelt humor. Chaplin believed in the power of collaboration. He knew that the best ideas often came from working together with others. He surrounded himself with talented people and wasn't afraid to let them shine. He valued their input and encouraged them to contribute their own ideas. He knew that the best comedy came from teamwork, from bouncing ideas off each other and finding the humor in everything. This collaborative spirit was a key ingredient in his success, but don't let that fool you. Chaplin was a perfectionist. He had a clear vision for his films and was determined to achieve it. He'd shoot scene after scene, take after take, until he got it just right. His commitment to perfection was unwavering. He was known for his attention to detail, making sure every prop, every gesture, every facial expression was perfect. Nothing was left to chance. He was like a comedic sculptor, molding and shaping every frame of his films until he achieved his vision. His meticulous nature ensured that every scene was crafted to perfection, and that dedication paid off. His films were celebrated not just for their humor, but for their artistry and innovation. Chaplin's films were not only hilarious, but also works of art. They resonated with audiences on multiple levels, combining comedy with deep emotional impact. They were visually stunning, emotionally resonant, and packed with timeless humor. His ability to blend these elements made his work truly unique. He was a true pioneer, pushing the boundaries of comedy and filmmaking, all while making us laugh our socks off. His legacy continues to inspire and entertain, proving that his genius was indeed timeless. Section 6, Hollywood, hilarity. Chaplin conquers Tinseltown. Chaplin in Hollywood. Talk about a match made in comedy heaven. But it wasn't all sunshine and roses. Chaplin was a rebel, always pushing the envelope. He clashed with studio execs, challenged censorship, did things his own way. Why? Because Chaplin knew what was funny. He refused to be put in a box. He used his films to comment on social issues, poke fun at the powerful, and champion the underdog. He was a comedic revolutionary, using laughter as his weapon, and the scandals. Oh boy, Chaplin had his share. Marriages, divorces, lawsuits, you name it. The tabloids had a field day with him. But through it all, Chaplin never lost his sense of humor. He knew that life was a circus, and he was the ringmaster. He embraced the chaos, using it as fuel for his comedy. He turned his personal life into material, finding humor in the most unexpected places. Chaplin proved that laughter could be found even in the darkest of times. He was a true master of turning lemons into lemonade, or should I say, pratfalls into punchlines.